The emergency klaxons wailed through the halls of the Galactic Council station, but this time they weren't signaling a hull breach or a diplomatic crisis. Someone or something had taken complete control of the station's announcement system, and every speaker, screen, and holographic display now carried the same message in a loop. Bring her back, bring her back, bring her back. Council Security Chief Vaxilla stood in the central command center, his 4 eyes fixed on the cascading error messages flooding his screens. His technical team scrambled around him, their tentacles flying across control panels with increasing desperation. Status report, he barked. Chief, we're locked out of everything, his second-in-command replied, her voice trembling. Every system communications, environmental controls, even the docking bay doors, they're all responding to a single override command. We can't trace the source. How is this possible? This station has 47 layers of encryption. A young technician turned from his console, his scales pale with fear. Sir, whoever did this didn't break through our security. They became our security. The entire system thinks this override is legitimate. Vaxilla felt his blood run cold. Only one species in the known galaxy possessed that level of technological intuition, that seemingly impossible ability to interface with systems they'd never encountered before. Humans called it hacking, the rest of the galaxy called it witchcraft. Find the human, he ordered. Ambassador Maria Chen sat in her quarters, calmly sipping tea while station security pounded on her door. She didn't move to answer it. Instead, she watched the chaos unfolding on her personal tablet, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. When the security team finally overrode her door lock, Vaxilla stormed in with a dozen armed guards. Ambassador Chen, he said, his voice tight with barely controlled fury, you need to call off your child. Maria set down her teacup with deliberate slowness. I would if I could, Chief, but Emma's not responding to me. She's rather upset, you see. Your offspring has hijacked a class A diplomatic station. Do you understand the severity, my daughter? Maria interrupted, her voice sharp as a blade. Watched your council vote to expel her best friend from this station. Did you understand the severity of that? Vaxilla's mandibles clicked in frustration. The Kyrian cub violated 3 separate protocols. The decision was lawful. Ziri is 7 years old. Irrelevant. The law, Maria stood. And despite being half Vaxilla's height, he found himself taking a step back. Is what you hide behind when you're too afraid to do what's right. In a maintenance shaft 3 levels below, Emma Chen sat cross-legged in front of a tangle of exposed wiring and fiber optic cables. Her tablet was jacked into the station's main trunk line via an adapter she'd built from spare parts. Tears streaked her face, but her hands were steady as they danced across the screen. The station's AI kept trying to reassert control, throwing up new barriers and countermeasures. Emma knocked them down as fast as they appeared. At 9 years old, she was already one of the most gifted hackers humanity had produced, not because of any formal training, but because she'd grown up on stations like this, playing with systems the way other children played with toys. But right now, she wasn't playing. Her communicator buzzed. Her mother's face appeared. Emma, sweetheart. They took her mum. Emma's voice cracked. They said Zeri's family broke rules and they have to leave. But Zeri didn't do anything wrong. She's my best friend. Maria's expression softened. I know, baby. I know it's not fair. Then make them bring her back. I can't. The council has made their decision. Then I'll make them change it. Emma cut the connection and returned to her work. The message cycling through the station had been her opening move. Now it was time for the second phase. Throughout the station, life support systems began fluctuating. Not dangerously, Emma was careful about that, but enough to be alarming. Temperature controls seized, artificial gravity wavered, water pressure dropped to a trickle. In the council chambers, the 73 ambassadors found their seats, suddenly very uncomfortable as the climate control shifted from temperate to freezing. This is an outrage, Ambassador Krill bellowed, his gills flapping in distress. The human child must be stopped. We're trying, Vaxilla reported via communicator, but she's somehow teaching the station's AI to resist our commands. It's learning from her. The Counselor Prime, an ancient Valkyrian whose species had mastered faster than light travel before humans had discovered fire, spoke for the first time. Fascinating. I have never seen such a display of technological empathy. The child doesn't merely command the systems, she befriends them. Counselor, surely you're not condoning I am observing, the counselor said coldly, that we may have made an error in judgment. The Kyrian transport was 3 hours from the station when Emma finally broke through the final firewall protecting the docking bay systems. She found what she needed in the traffic control logs. the transport's designation, heading, and communication frequency. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. A moment later, every speaker on the Kyrian transport crackled to life. Ziri. Emma's voice, small and desperate, echoed through the ship. Ziri, can you hear me? In the passenger section, a small Kyrian cub with silver fur pressed her paws against the window. Looking back at the distant station, her ears perked up at the familiar voice. Emma, I'm bringing you back. I promise, just don't forget me, okay? Counselor Prime stood before the emergency session, his ancient eyes sweeping across the assembled ambassadors. I move to reverse the expulsion order. On what grounds? Ambassador Krill demanded. On the grounds, the counselor said softly, that a 9-year-old human child has demonstrated something we seem to have forgotten, that compassion should govern our laws, not the other way around. If a cub can teach our own systems to defy us in defense of friendship, perhaps we should listen. The vote was called. When the count finished, the expulsion had been overturned. 6 hours later, Emma sat in her mother's arms as they watched the Kyrian transport dock. When Ziri bounded down the ramp and collided with Emma in a tearful hug, Maria noticed that every species present, even the usually stoic Valkyrians, seemed to have something in their eyes. Vaxilla approached, looking exhausted. Your daughter has cost me 3 years of life expectancy, Maria smiled, but she reminded you what you're supposed to be protecting. Worth the trade, I think. He couldn't argue with that.